All right, guys. We are here today. Nvidia is slightly red, man. It was originally more green when I looked at the computer. Now it's all the way red, man. I don't know if anything happened. It looked like there's this big drop in Nvidia. I'll put it up on screen, but it looked like there's this big drop right here earlier in pre-market, right around here, that just kind of came out of nowhere. I don't know if it was a catalyst-driven drop, but it kind of rebounded since then. Still technically red on the day, but it's back up some for sure here. Yeah, so just bear with me. We're going to get everything set up. It's a massive week. Again, we got Nvidia earnings, GDP data, PCE data, jobless claims data. Today we got CB consumer confidence data later this morning. And yeah, we'll see what we get today. Yesterday was red in the market. If you look at the market yesterday, we did fall down yesterday and kind of dip. You can kind of see big pullback, and again, I was wrong. I thought we would get choppy behavior yesterday, but we instead got pretty red action. So we'll see. I don't know if we're gonna get sideways action now or what, but yeah. Let me get some music playing here. No, I don't think the drop was that much, ER. Yeah, so again, we're kind of red. Kind of flat, though, since, 10 a.m. yesterday morning. All right. Yeah, honestly, I was watching this crazy story about in-laws and how this guy was living with his wife, and his wife had just had back surgery or something, and his in-laws chose that opportunity to get all up in his house and show up unannounced and do all this stuff. Best thing I can say about in-laws is boundaries. You just gotta have boundaries, man. You gotta have boundaries with everybody. You gotta have boundaries. I have boundaries with my parents, right? We have a rule at my house. You can't, if you show up here and you didn't announce that you were showing up, you're not coming inside, right? We're gonna wave to you at the door and tell you to, come back another time. And once you do that, reinforce that just a couple times, it stops happening, right? But you gotta put your foot down. If they show up unannounced, you gotta just be like, yo, y'all gotta come back. You didn't call. Again, if you do that once or twice, they get the picture. They understand. If they show up, they're not coming in. But I've got my in-laws are solid. They're good people. So, I'm sure if they weren't, it'd be a little bit harder. All right, guys. What's up, Jan? Lots of red this morning. Yeah. Dude, my mom was great. My mom was a great mom, man. But yeah, you better believe. Like, I know people are different, but again, something that I need is like I need some advance warning before in-laws show up. Same thing with my parents. Like, my mom can't just show up over here. You know, it's kind of how it goes. It needs to be planned. You know. I don't want to be walking around in my boxers, you know, and my in-laws show up. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not. It's not how it's gonna go. And any adult like relationship should have healthy boundaries, right? Like, you gotta be adults. And it shouldn't take any work for whoever it is to text or call and say, "Hey, I'm gonna stop by in 30 minutes." Okay, cool, that's fine. You know. That's a different thing than showing up at the door unannounced, knocking, saying, "Hey," you know. And I think maybe for older people, it's different because there weren't cell phones and like they didn't grow up with that type of like messaging service. So it may be a little bit different, but yeah. Boundaries hurt feelings in my family. Boundaries are healthy, bro. Everywhere and everything. You know, you gotta have boundaries. When you marry somebody, right? Like, you gotta be a unit. You know, you are the new family, right? Like me, Carol, and I are the new family, and you know, my parents and her parents. They're all good people, you know. But you gotta have boundaries for sure. You gotta have boundaries in everything, in relationships and families. You know, boundaries are healthy. Yeah, Nvidia earnings tomorrow evening. The biggest event of the stock market, for sure. The biggest event of the stock market. Yeah, Nvidia expectations. And today we've got CB consumer confidence. Again, it's not the biggest thing, in all honesty, but it's important. You know, PDD, the stock PDD is crashing yesterday. Look at this dump. PDD dropped over, you know, PDD dropped like 35% yesterday. What a big drop, like 35%, a little bit less, maybe like 30%, but what a massive drop for PDD. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to be instrumentals, and for whatever reason, it wasn't, so. Okay, so for whatever reason, it didn't put it on instrumentals. Okay, there it is. Yeah, so they were raised 10% like a week ago, right? Like a week ago, they were raised 10%. And so they were raised to 65 cents a share. They might have raised them to 69 cents a share, and it's just not updated yet. Hold on. What's the new updated Nvidia? Yeah, so a lot of people are saying stocks are on track for a rough start, a weak start this week in anticipation for Nvidia earnings, driving traders to sidelines. Strategists flag shift from volatile tech stocks to good dividend-paying bets. And so, yeah, stocks are on track to see a weak open as traders brace for a few market-moving catalysts over the next few days that are going to make big waves in markets for sure. Index futures were narrowly mixed in early trading. A couple, we got the HPI, the Shiller H house price index dropping at 9 a.m. today. That's actually pretty big report. And we got CB consumer confidence data later on. But those are still pretty small reports, pretty insignificant reports overall when they compare them to like Nvidia earnings. They had a fund manager, Louis Navalier, say, quote, they may be more downside from under-delivering good news than upside from better than hoped for good news, given the stock has a PE in the 70s, end quote. He said, quote, clearly market momentum remains positive with rate cuts the driver in the near term and AI the longer term driver, he added. So do you guys agree with him? Basically, he's saying there's more downside than upside for Nvidia here. Again, one thing that's dragging the market down, PDD, a Chinese stock, Pawn sent me some information on this. It had a $55 billion stock crash, sent some warnings to the Chinese economy. It was one of the last remaining bright spots for them in terms of consumption, and it was rapidly fading downward in stock price as the nation's economic troubles takes a toll on demand for the most accessible of goods. And so PDD, dropping. Temu and Alibaba giving out worse guidance and seeing slowing in spending and even lower in products as well. So interesting. All right, guys. So I'm sorry, guys. It's supposed to be instrumentals only. There we go. That's better. PDD is basically Temu. And when even cheap companies like Temu struggle, it can show real weakness. Yeah, for sure. Next 4 days will be very interesting. Yeah, for sure. This is a crazy, busy couple-day period, to be honest, man. So much stuff's going on. Yeah, we gotta pay attention. Oh man, I forgot to monetize. Let me put that up on the screen. There we go. But yeah, Temu is like a eBay kind of store. All right, guys. All right, guys. So yeah, so honestly, super micro semiconductors dropped all the way from 615s to 560 yesterday. I'm kind of taking a look at the market now. Massive drops, honestly. And this is what I'm telling you guys. Like, super micro semiconductors, very low float. It could go up big percentage or down big percentage. So in 1978, Richard Branson, the T-Mobile guy, if you don't know, the guy behind SPCE, the company, Richard Branson was trying to impress his girlfriend at the time by pretending to buy a private island. And so the island was listed for $6 million. He offered $100,000 as a joke, and the owner settled for $180K, and he ended up buying the island. It's kind of a cool little island. I don't know what to do with it, but I'm sure it's probably appreciated. Let me see, how much is that island worth now? Between 100 and 300 million? Wow, dude. So he bought that 74-acre private island in the British Virgin Islands, owned by Richard. Now it's owned by Richard Branson. It's valued between 100 and 300 million dollars now. That's a good deal, right? Honestly, where's that at, bro? Give me somebody. You know, let me start shopping for islands. It's now one of the most expensive private islands in the world. An exclusive buyout of the island costs $105K a night for up to 40 guests, 20 rooms. Up to honestly, it's a good business move. It makes sense, right? Like, rent that thing out. But still, man. SPY back green. SPY was red all morning, and it just went green. It's back up to 561. Still, 565s is the lifetime highs on the SPY. So we'll see if it holds there or not. Yeah, I mean, I'm not buying Temu or PDD or anything like that. I avoid companies overseas. Very consistent. I avoid companies like that. There's just too much risk behind them, man. Like, there's too much unknown. I can't see what's going on over there, and so I don't want to put money in it. Yeah. What a lucky dude, Joshua, for sure. Let me do a poll here. I don't think I've done a poll yet. I don't know if anything. Does the market bounce back today after yesterday's bearish action? Yes or no? Vote on the poll. Let me know what you guys think. %, yes so far. Vote on the poll. 75% yes now. 75-25. Bro, my freaking calf hurts, dude. So, and I think part of I get hurt because of my ego in jiu-jitsu. Like, I'm rolling with this kid. Honestly, I get him in a loop choke, right? And I think it's over with. But he just kind of stays, like, he sits in that loop choke for literally like 45 seconds, and I'm sitting there like, and like, he just gets out of it. I get his back, get him in a body triangle, and he does the calf slicer body triangle defense on me. My calf still freaking hurts. I should have tapped, but there was like 6 seconds left on the clock. And so I'm like, I'm not tapping in this guy. I've never tapped to him before. I'm not tapping to him again. But, man, I should have tapped because now my calf hurts. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'm catching back up on the chat. You learned a lesson? I mean, yeah, I guess. Again, I don't, I've never seen that defense with the calf slicer, really. I looked it up when I got home, though, and it is an actual defense. You know, the only mistake I made, I didn't hook my leg correctly. Is the only mistake. You know, if you cross your legs in a back mount, then you can get ankle locked, right? And so I didn't know you could get reversed from the body. It's all learning here. I've been doing it for like almost a year now, so it's fun. No, they don't pay enough. Adventures. And I'm too old, you know. I would never be able to, you know, compete with them. Never. It's just a hobby, you know. It's fun. I'm just a spazzy white belt, anyway. All right, guys. Yeah, so again, a lot of stuff. I'm worried we're not going to get any good price action today in markets here. You know, gold's still close to lifetime highs. The interesting one that I will be watching today is the Shiller House Price Index. You know, the Shiller HPI. I think that'll be fun. Like, that'll be interesting. Yeah. So the Shiller HPI will be interesting. Because house prices, you know, have just gone straight up. SPY still sitting pretty green, though. Yeah, I looked at RTY already. It spiked up Friday, right? UAE, they teach jiu-jitsu. Yeah, jiu-jitsu is really useful, man. It really is. I think you got to mix it with some other stuff, though. I don't think just regular jiu-jitsu. You know, I mean, even if it's better than nothing, right? But I think you got to mix it with like a base level of striking to be effective like that. You know, that or judo. Judo is really effective. Yeah. Yeah, so Russell's sideways for the last few days. Spiked up a lot Friday for sure. Super Micro, again, down to 560s. So Super Micro is down big. You know, again, Nvidia, AMD, Apple, microchips, all down yesterday for the most part. Apple at 226 is here. So Apple decreased a little bit, but kind of rebounded back up. So Apple's kind of strong here. Apple CFO quit. Yeah, I heard about that. And it looks like it's positively affecting markets here. We also had some of the ECB members speaking. So they're saying Not says as long as disinflation path coverage is to 2% before the end of 25, then they're comfortable with gradual policy easing. Regarding rates, yeah, I'm looking at some other stuff. Eli Lilly releases some other stuff too. Yeah, looking at Apple. Apparently Apple had some type of big news. So Apple's September 9th Glow Time event is happening too. It's going to be its annual iPhone launch event named Glow Time. The event is expected to showcase new products, including highly anticipated iPhone 16 series. iPhone 16 lineup expected to come with significant upgrades in processing, camera tech, and design. We might stream it. I'm pretty sure I can. Somebody told me before that it wouldn't be free use. But it is, right? Like, I'm able to cover that show for sure on my channel. I see other people covering it too. So yeah, Apple CFO Luca Maestri is going to step down January 1st. Yeah, so yeah, they're going to step down January 1st. So at the end of this year, basically, he's stepping down. Yeah. Yeah, we'll see what they do. Honestly, I always tell people the same thing with iPhones. They're not always going to be able to produce like super big upgrades. It's just not a reasonable thing to expect. Now with AI systems and a new phone and all that stuff, that might be big, but I don't know how much AI debuts they're going to be doing. I think they already debuted that during the 15. So yeah, thinking of a slight pump today, but still staying in range. Honestly, it's obvious Nvidia beats, but guidance will take the market lower, in my opinion. I don't think it's obvious, man. I think they can work the books enough to say it's going to beat, but the question is, how does it react? And maybe guidance takes it lower. I'm not sure. We'll see. You know, again, Nvidia testing the previous closing price, trying to go red. I think the whole market's going to be quiet leading into Nvidia too. We got CB consumer confidence at 10 a.m. today, but again, it's not a big thing. Shiller house price index at 9 is pretty big, actually. All right, so Japan has this 87-year-old investor who made over 12 million. I don't know, man. 12 million just doesn't seem like that much as much as it used to. Like, inflation has gotten everybody. I mean, listen, I don't have anywhere near 12 million, of course, right? But, you know, I don't know. Yeah, so I can't really cover. Bitcoin no longer a hedge against the market. Gold is still a hedge. I mean, I don't know, man. I think Bitcoin's long term. You got to look at it long term. It's not going to be, yeah, it's not always going to go up. It's not always going to go down. It's just, it's long term. Notice an interesting video where someone mentioned Apple would eventually. Do you think? I don't see it. Yeah, I mean, what would they replace it with? Right? Like, that's their main business right now. You know, I mean, I know people still use iPads. I know people still use Mac computers. Apple laptops and Macs and stuff, but I don't think they'll ever get rid of the iPhone, not anytime soon at least. There's word iPhone 17 Slim should be huge next year, and Apple has stopped advancing towards Pro Vision 2 because one is too expensive. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, so JD unveils a $5 billion share buyback as concerns grow overseas. Buyback news coming out after Walmart announced they sold their stake in the company regarding JD.com. If we look at JD here, they're up pretty big after announcing this buyout, up to almost 27. Big gap up. I've never been a big fan of JD. It's just not a company I know well enough to want to put my money behind it, you know. All right, guys. What happened to all the people walking around with the Apple headset on their face? I mean, that was when it first came out. I think people still use it in that way. Neuralink, nah. They should just convert iPad into iPhones. Honestly, my phone is kind of like that. Like, look, here's my phone, right? Like, my phone is. But the cool thing about my phone is that I can do this, right? And then I could use it like this. So. Not many people are watching. I mean, we got 370. I mean, we just started the stream up, what, 30 minutes ago? So, I mean, yeah, it's still really early. It's not even 8 a.m. yet, you know. So, it's still pretty early. We'll probably have over 500 here, I'm guessing, give or take. But yeah, we don't really have much going on until later in the morning. There's rumors after September rate cut market will take a huge dump. Thoughts? Maybe. It's possible. What do you guys think the real estate market will do is the question. Like, where do you think real estate will go? Tesla news of satellite phones. Yeah. You talk about the Z Fold hustle? Yeah. Bitcoin, you know, SPY is still so flat, man, and this is why I'm worried about today. Like, if you look at the SPY, completely neutral. Nvidia, completely neutral. Most stuff is completely flat today, which is a concern. Like, even if we look at the Q, Q's pretty close to flat. If we look at gold as an example, gold's kind of down a little bit on the day, but it's still right around lifetime highs. Again, the SPY still could break, like, lifetime highs on the SPY are right here, so it could certainly still break it. But yeah, a little boring today. Not a lot going on. Did you see the gaming that has Neuralink? It says it's basically a cheat code for min gaming, and in some tournaments, it makes moving on screen before his body can make the adjustments. Nice. Yeah, I remember when phones came out. 25 basis point is nothing. Why lock yourself into a mortgage with 25 basis point cut when you expect 100? Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, so Powell thinks we're going to cut a full percentage point by the end of the year, right? So he thinks we're going to cut full 1%, right? So if you look at the federal funds rate, I'm not sure what it's at now, but right. So here's the federal funds rate graph, right? So if we're taking a look at it here, we're at 5.33%. So this, in theory, should go all the way down to. Let me look. Yeah, so this in sheer theory should go down to 4.33% by the end of this year. And eventually it'll trickle into long-term rates. I'm not sure where mortgage rates are now. Current average NBA 30 years at 6.5%. So it's up a little bit from the previous week at 6.49%. The average 30-year rate was 7.73. The highest was 18.63% in October in the 80s. I'm trying to make sure we don't have anything else today, too. But I don't think we do. I know we got CB Consumer Confidence. We got the house price index in like an hour. So we do have the house price index. That's kind of big, but CB Consumer Confidence is bigger. Nothing else is coming out today, really. Tomorrow, we got the updated mortgage rates. We got Raphael Bostic speaking. But again, the big thing tomorrow is going to be Nvidia earnings. That's what's going to powerfully move the market, like in a huge way. The Z Fold's great for trading. Honestly, it's great for me, right? The reason it's great for me, right, is because I can run my business on that phone. You know, it's a business phone, really. I can run my whole business on that phone. And as an example, right, like one of the biggest risks is if like I get locked out of a lot of stuff if I don't have my phone. You know, so like if I break the screen on my phone, as an example. It'll take me like a couple days to get everything back up and running again. The good thing about the Z Fold is that if I break one screen, like say I break this big screen here, right? Then I can just use this screen and just keep the phone closed and manage everything and reset everything to the new phone without having to worry about it. And it's just much easier, much easier. So yeah, it's just a good phone. Plus the screen's huge. I could trade on it. Like there's a lot of cool stuff. So. All right, guys. So, again, market's very flat today. There's not a ton of volume. Market's a little boring. It's not just new purchase, but refinancing, I think, will be huge. So these mortgage companies will bank. Yeah, for sure. And I think that real estate prices are probably going to go up. Do you think real estate prices will go up from this is the big question. You know, and I'm looking at this. Does the market bounce back after yesterday's bearish action? 62% think yes, 38% think no. Just in terms of like normal flow, I think possible. I think it's possible we do. But again, man, we'll see. We'll see. Property prices are dropping now at rates as rates stay up, and they need to hold the rates as the inflation is dropping, but very slow. Yeah, but I don't think they're going to hold rates. You know, Powell's come out multiple times saying they're probably going to cut. They're almost certainly going to cut in September, and they're probably going to continue to cut 25 basis points for the rest of the year in increments up to 1 full percentage point. So for 25 basis points, 100 basis points for the rest of the year, basically, is what they're saying. Now, again, we'll see if that helps or hurts the market. You know, there is a general lag that happens when this stuff happens. So usually there's a lag that takes place, you know, as this stuff goes. But, you know, again, we'll see. Yeah, so we got the K Shiller, 9 a.m. So yeah, we do have the K Shiller house price index. I'm curious to see what this is. We're gonna look at housing. To see if it moves anything. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out the other futures trading thing. We're gonna be day trading the open live like we always do. We got CB consumer confidence data at 10 o'clock as well, so we'll see if that moves markets. Get banned. Good day to you, sir. So if the market slows down a lot, we expect a higher cut. My bad. Let me change Nvidia up. Let me put this up. Nvidia's like tweaking out over here. There we go. That's better. Nvidia just went red on the day, so Nvidia's starting to drop. We'll see if that continues to flush the market. And he's gone. Yeah, I don't know what he was saying when he was saying it. Yeah, that's some weird guy. It's all good. Yeah, so I got this strict reversal indicator. I kind of want to show it to you guys. Hold on, let me pull it up on screen here if I can find it. Like, look at Nvidia chart continue to... Where's the strict reversal? There it is. So, like, look at this indicator. Honestly, I built this indicator too. It's pretty legit. Like, like, look at this. So it's called strict reversal. It doesn't happen a lot, right? So this is not something that shows up a lot. But, like, look at the strict reversal signal. Boom. You know, this one worked a little bit as well. Got all the way up to almost $1 a share. And if we keep scrolling back here, okay, like you see this? I don't know why it is. There's Ford. I should hopefully make it stop refreshing. It's starting to bother me. So like, look, here's the strict reversal as well. Look at that. 2 of them showed up here. I gotta edit the code a little bit, but look at that. Boom. Nice. So there's another working example. I'm gonna have to play with gold on this. But like, y'all tell me if we could find one that didn't work. Like, it doesn't happen every day. Okay, here's one that didn't work, right? But that's out of like 4 so far. Let me keep testing this. That's one that definitely didn't work. But look, that one worked. So that's like only 1 out of 5. It's only long as well, right? Here's another one that worked. Showed up here. Nice little follow through. So that's 1 out of 6 that didn't work. I haven't tested longer term charts. It's only on a 1-minute chart. Look, here's another one that worked. All right, definitely worked. Look at that. Follow through. That's 1 out of 7 that didn't work. Or, you know, 6 out of 7, I should say, accuracy. Look, here's another one. Okay, that's what 7 out of 8. I mean, it doesn't show up every day, but when it does show up, like here's another one. I would say this one worked too. Like, we got to follow through back up from it. I would even say this one worked too, because like, look, it showed up here and we got to bounce. So interesting. Look, here's another one. That one definitely worked. Here's another one. That one worked. Like, look. Showed up here. Boom. If you use it short term, I think it works really well. Use it over, like, the next, like, 5-minute period after it shows. I'll have to check it on something else besides the S&P or the NASDAQ here. Yeah, let's try gold. I want to see if it shows up on gold. Right? Alright, so here's one on gold. I don't know, that one looks like it didn't work. And futures have kind of a different price action here too. So we'll keep testing it. Let's keep looking at gold. Okay, so look, here's one. Alright. So the first one didn't work, but that one worked. Really nice bottom too. Like, that one trended a long time in my favor. Look, this one worked as well. Look, nice little follow through back up. So I think it's, I can't say it's gonna work more than it doesn't yet. But I think if you use it like over a short period of time, like, look, here's the candle that had happened, and then nice little follow through. Like, it definitely is good in indicative of like short term strength. Right, I'm keep testing it now. I'll have to play with the code. I can't remember what I used to build this code. I remember I couldn't get it to work short, but I remember building this code. Yeah, look at that. Calls the literal bottom here. Look at that. So I'll have to keep playing with it, but not too shabby so far with this one. Alright, so gold, I mean, gold is only one of them have really not worked on gold, which was the first one today. And that's probably because we got so much chop and neutral activity, it's hard to bet on. Maybe this one didn't work, so this is probably the second one. That one didn't work. And this one didn't work either. I'll have to keep testing on futures. I want to see what it does on like individual stocks. Yeah, well, this one's got a string of not working at the very end here too, but yeah, so maybe gold's not the best move for it, and gold might just move differently. Let's try like Apple. So we got the Shiller house price index coming out today. It's relatively important. It drops at 9 a.m. in 50 minutes. I'll put a timer up for the Shiller. Again, although I don't know how relevant this data really is, to be honest. The CB consumer confidence data typically moves the markets a little bit more than this, you know. So, but we'll put a timer up regardless. Again, Nvidia down on the day. We're kind of just testing out this indicator here. And I think you got to avoid it when it's in super low pre-market. Yeah, so I don't see it working that well here. Or like maybe individual stocks. Maybe because of the volume factor is not as consistent. Whereas something like the Q. Although these do look pretty solid. That worked. That worked. I think maybe if we combine it with something else, it could probably work really well. Like volume is what I think. If we combine it with like a reasonable amount of volume. Let's check out the NASDAQ here. All right, NASDAQ just went red on the day too. Fears high, bears ruling the streets. I don't know, man. I think the market's up huge this year. I think the market basically rebounded all the way from the yen carry disaster trade and like continued up. And so I think it's too early to say that yet. I think, yeah, that's nice. Look at that reversal, boom, nice little bounce. So I'll have to use this maybe strictly on index funds. See, there's two that it didn't work. See? Weird, man. So it looked like it worked great on the SPY. I'll have to keep testing it. Let me see a 5-minute chart. I haven't even looked at it on a 5-minute chart yet. I don't even know if it shows up on a 5-minute chart. Okay, there's one. Yeah, that was nice. You got a little bounce. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty solid. Bounce, bounce. See, I don't know how to use it on a 5. We'll keep testing it, guys. But so far, so good. I mean, 5-minute looks a little bit better, maybe. Markets are done. Multi-year beginning. Economy puts fear. Doesn't take much. How's Meta reacting? Yeah, so Meta, I saw that news. But Meta didn't react at all. It's basically flat. Meta, the whole market went down for the most part yesterday, with a couple exceptions, though. Meta went down, but it wasn't some big, like if you look at the NASDAQ here as an example. Right, you look at the NASDAQ here. NASDAQ dropped significantly yesterday. So did the SPY. So everything dropped pretty big right at the opening bell yesterday. So we had this big opening weakness throughout most of the day. You know, you can see this big bearish action, this big drop, this big opening weakness. And then we continued and held down basically for the rest of the day. And we've basically been sideways since then. We've been sideways since then. You know, and we have the strict reversal, but I still have this indicator that I'm playing with right here. I think this is it. It's still pretty good. Like I was looking at it on Meta. Yeah, like red, boom, green, boom, red, boom, green, boom. Green bounce. Red dip, green bounce. So yeah, this indicator I'm keeping in my pocket. I was looking at it on Meta. You know, look at the red signal, dip, green bounce. Look at that. Green bounce, red dip. This one didn't work. This one worked. This one worked. This one, I don't know. That one probably didn't work. Red dip, green bounce. This one, I don't know. Green bounce. Red dip. Yeah, green bounce, red dip, green bounce. And this one did work. The red one, like, look. Red dip, green bounce. So, yeah, we'll have to keep messing with it. All right. So again, Nvidia flushing down. This is probably dragging the whole futures market down really here with everything. So this is probably dragging the whole futures market down. All right, guys. What else do we have? So again, the whole market's flat, but Nvidia continuing its downward streak here. And then, again, this is going to drag the whole market down. I thought we had some bad news for Nvidia, but I think Nvidia might just be flushing down. Chipotle today announced that it's testing Chipotle honey chicken at 80 restaurants. All right, so CBRT Minute says leading indicator suggests monthly inflation will slow down in August. But yeah, look at Nvidia. The big story right now is Nvidia's fall. Look at Nvidia dumping here. We will probably start to trade some today if we get some good stuff. Catch back up with the chat here. Meta reacting to the market Z news. I don't know. Meta's not really down at all from it. The bad news for Nvidia, I think, is that the big boys are shifting to recession stocks. Safer long-term plays. Rate cuts usually officially kick off some level of recession, not doom and gloom. Yeah, I mean, maybe. It depends on how we're going to react to all of it here. If I look at, like, let's see how good AI is in this regard. All right, so let's see how good A is. All right, so I said, so I'm about to buy a rental property right now. The Fed funds rate is 5.25 roughly, as we have been raising rates for the past 5 years straight by the Fed and then pausing rates for the last year straight. House prices have gone up the entire time as well, right? So that's the other thing to consider. House prices have gone up the entire time. The FOMC is now planning on cutting rates a full 100 basis points or 1% over the next 5 months. Is it time to buy a house right now, or do you guys think house prices will dip? Do you guys think house prices will fall over the next year and then maybe rebound once interest rates are low? I know interest rates might be low, but yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. I'll be right back. Yeah, no, it's fine. All right, I love you, buddy. Have a good day,
It's
school,
like when
bud.
I get to school, it doesn't even
All right.
smell like it.
I love you. Yeah, it's just strong. It's okay.
Sorry.
It's all right. I know. Now I smell like strawberries. I love you. Have a good day. All right, so Johnson & Johnson approves a new combination of something. All right, so we're back. Sorry, had to talk to my family real quick. Yeah, we got the Shiller house price index dropping. I'm going to see what house prices are doing here, really. So the FOMC planning to cut 100 basis points over the next 5 months will likely lead to lower mortgage rates. However, mortgage rates don't always move in lockstep with the federal funds rate. They also are easily influenced by bond yields, investor demand, and other economic factors. If mortgage rates do drop as a result of the rate cuts, it could make borrowing cheaper and more attractive and decrease monthly payments if you were going to buy a house with a mortgage and cause more people to buy a house. Over the past years, house prices have climbed, which might indicate a strong market. However, if rate cuts lead to increased demand due to cheaper borrowing prices, prices could continue to rise or at least stay high. Conversely, if there's a broader economic slowdown, which is sometimes associated with rate cuts, house prices could stabilize or even decline. It could present a buying opportunity, but also means you need to be cautious about timing. Yeah. I mean, AI got it pretty right, I think. Basically, if we go into a recession, then it might not be the time to buy a house, right? That's the way you have to look at it. Yeah, so Martin Shkreli ended up buying this Wu-Tang album. I think he bought it for like $1 million, or maybe it was $2 million or something. He ended up selling it for like $4 million to some crypto company, some upstart crypto firm. Yeah, but if you pay cash, right? Like the reason I'm buying a property right now, and none of this matters to me, right? Like if you want to know why, like I'm buying a property because cash is king right now, and when rates go down, cash won't be king. And so I can put in offers well under list price with cash and get some pretty good deals right now in real estate. And even if we do pull back, I'm still probably going to make money with these real estate deals than if I wait over the next year and a half or 2 years, interest rates start to go down. That gives a lot more people free access to, or cheaper access, not free, of course, cheaper access to leverage and money and mortgages and loans. And ultimately, cash won't be as powerful then as it is now, right? Which is one of the reasons I'm probably going to be buying. I put an offer in. We're waiting to hear back from it. But I kind of talked to the agent yesterday. It's probably going to go through, but we don't really know. Hopefully it does, but we'll see. But the point is, it is well below list price, and so I'm getting a deal on it. That's the point. Anyways, Meta still sideways. Yeah, I think choppiness until Nvidia earnings is possible. Choppiness is definitely possible until Nvidia earnings. So we'll see. AMD. Yeah, and again, that's what I'm saying right now, Lolo. Like, it won't be in a year, So, like, my situation's a little bit different, Like, right now, I can get it'll have more leverage than it will in a year, right? In a year, interest rates might drop. Mortgage rates might be 3.5%, 4.5%, and so in that regard, we're not going to be it's not going to be as influential over purchases, right? Which is why, like, again, I would never buy a house full list price right now. It's too expensive. But I could put in offers well under list price with cash and see if they accept, and that's kind of what I'm doing. Yeah, so hope it crashes so I can buy my ranch. Hey, good luck, brother. Again, it doesn't. The thing with real estate is you got to hold it long term anyway, right? So you have to hold it like deep into long term, you know. So Danny saying, "Hey John, what value would you say you bring to your viewers?" I mean, I tell people the truth about trading in the market. I tell them most day traders lose. Most people selling your courses are nonsense. The penny stock market, you're almost certain to lose. You know, and really we're kind of like a podcast in that regard. So we give the same type of value that most podcasts bring. We give you guys breaking news in markets. If there's a big catalyst going on, we're definitely going to cover it. The other thing that we do here is that we don't sell a course. We don't sell a service. We have no paywalls behind anything. Everything we do is free. We don't charge for anything whatsoever. We report very quick news releases, very quick inflation data, very quick FOMC updates, very quick GDP reports, jobless claims reports. We report economic data faster than almost everybody else. And so that's one of the big reasons my channel grows, is because we cover economic data faster than everybody else, right? Like we have thousands of people that watch my streams because they know we're going to cover it quickly, and they know that usually in general, right? It's not always, but in general, we're going to have, like, we'll tell you kind of the story of the economic report, like whether the market's going to react good or bad to it, whether it's going to go up, down, sideways, all that stuff, right? We're going to cover it for sure. Now, like, sure, we're going to cover other stuff. Like, I'm going to talk about jiu-jitsu. I'm going to talk about MMA. I'm going to talk about house prices or investments I might be making or watches or whatever I feel like talking about, I'm going to talk about, right? But we certainly provide value, and everything's free, you know? And so if you don't think we provide value, you could go watch somebody else. Like, it's all good. You know, it doesn't matter too much. But people I think people find value here, you know? So I appreciate you guys. Yeah. He's not a fanboy of certain stocks. He's not political, and he's not dramatic. Yeah, we try. You know, I appreciate it. Top quality MMA banter. Yeah, hey, I know MMA really well. Like, I know the fighters. I train a little bit, you know. It's fun. I just asked. Yeah, it's cool. Go ahead and ask away, man. I just answered, you know. It's not like I'm mad at you for asking. I bought a house in 2023. How long would you recommend to stay and not sell? I'm not going to recommend anything, brother. I have literally no idea what you should do. I have no idea what the real estate market's going to do. Whatever you do, Eric, is completely, you know, up to you, brother. I have no idea what that market's going to do. Really no idea, you know. Like, I'm a real estate agent, but my license is inactive and I don't ever use it. And so I don't, it's just not worth the time or anything to do it, you know. But, so yeah, I really don't know. The best thing about this stream is that you are trustworthy, not like so many other finance streamers. Yeah, I mean, listen, I have sponsors and stuff. But, like, I tell you, they pay me money. I tell you I'm biased. And so, you know. Again, that's, if I was watching somebody, that's who I'd want to watch. No, it's a rental property, Ruma. It's definitely not a house for me to live in, you know. We just bought this house a few years ago. So, yeah. Christmas music is an L, bro. I'm sorry, dude. It came on, dude. Sorry. Here, I got you guys. Hold on. Let me change it. And so with that said, guys, listen, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. This song is called A Smoke and a Pancake. I appreciate it, Lolo. Thank you. I believe the Q 473.20s is key support. A break will be bearish. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I have cash flow positive rentals. Equity went up substantially. Market growth. Selling price since renters and insurers are kind of a pain. Yeah, it just depends on what else you're going to buy with it. Like, I think a bad move. I mean, selling might be a good idea, might be a bad idea. Right, like it depends on what you plan on doing with the cash, I would argue, right? I'm not an investment professional. I have no idea what you should do, and I'm not liable if you lose money doing anything or whatever you choose to do, right? Definitely not liable. But it depends. Like if you're planning on just sitting on cash over a long period of time, that's usually a bad move. But if you're going to take the money and then put it into something else to work for you, you know, it depends on what you're putting it in. You should trademark they pay me money, so I'm biased. Yeah, I mean, you know. I think it makes the haters, it makes it really hard to critique the channel. Because I tell people I'm biased. I don't even claim to be a good trader, you know. And like I said, we cover economic data faster than everybody else. So, I mean, and more reliably, I'd argue. Top 3 ever in the world. But no. Would you ever rent a family, John? No, I wouldn't. I couldn't. It's 2 different things, and that's how you burn bridges in family. You know, there's a lot of resentments that float around in families. Not my wife's. I'm not talking about my wife's. You know, I have resentful people in my family that are weird and kind of off and look at me like, you know. But again, it's just something like, generally speaking, if you rent a family and they don't have their rent money 1 month, instead of working to get it, they're going to say, oh, it's family, I'm just not going to do it. And that might start like a trend of that behavior, is really why I wouldn't. Usually big companies don't revise their earnings up 10% just to not be earnings. Nvidia made so much money with those new AI chips and factories, they had to revise their numbers up. They beat. Yeah, but I think Nvidia's already reacted to that, right? So here's Nvidia. Look at a quarterly chart. This is a quarterly chart that I added on my charts not that long ago. Look how crazy a quarterly chart is on Nvidia. Such a big move here. What would you say your percentage return is with rental income? I don't know. I would hope it's going to be 10%, you know, 15% if it on a good year. You know, rental income goes like this, you know, so this is how you have to factor into it. So there's a rule called the 1% rule. And so say you buy a house for $250K, and your job is you want to make, in ideal situations, 1% of that a month, right? So you want to try to make 2,500% or 1% of that a month, right? But let's be conservative with it and say you just make $2K a month on that, which should be reasonable. $250, you should make about $2,000, right? Now, you do that times 12, you're gonna make about $24,000 a year off of that rental property. But let's just say expenses throughout the year, expenses and insurance are gonna take away, I would say, like 45% of that, right? So I would say 45% of that in expenses, taxes, you know, maybe just expenses and insurance and stuff like that are gonna wipe out at like 40% of this, right? So you're gonna be left with about 15K in profit, and then let's say you got taxes, which we'll say is about like is about 4,500, right? So you're gonna make about $10,000 a year from that rental property. Right, about $10,000 a year. You know, a little bit less than $1,000 a month in net profit, probably from that rental property. Now, the other thing to consider, right, and that's just in terms of rental income. It might be more than this, it might be less than this, right? Like you might have big expenses depending on the year, right? Like it might be more, it might be less than this, in just general bills. But also, real estate tends to appreciate, you know, anywhere between 3 and 5% on average every year, and so, you know, if we look at that here, right, and we look at 250K, and then we do the math behind it. Let's say it appreciates 4% a year. So first year, let's do a 10-year period, right? So in 10 years, in theory, that house should be worth close to 400K, right? So in 10 years, you're going to be making more in appreciation over time as well, right? And so these are all good things that hedge against inflation. Now, when you add those up, I'm not sure what the percentage is going to be on a yearly perspective, right? Let me see. So you're going to make about $12,000 a year in appreciation on average, I guess, if that math is right. I don't know if it's right. But what was it? 377 minus 250 equals 127, right? So then you take 127 divided by the 10-year period. So that's about 12.7K a year plus 10K a year. So about 22 percentage-wise. That's so you're making about 9% in appreciation plus 10K a year. So yeah, hopefully you should make around 10-15% a year on a good real estate purchase if you include appreciation and the compounding effect of rent that increases over time and stuff like that. So in theory, it should keep up with inflation, right? Like, that's the point. And that's why I like real estate over everything else, regardless of what the real estate market is in. The S&P 500 will give you like 10% on average, 9%, 8%, and it's pretty consistent. But the other good thing about the S&P or the NASDAQ or investing in stocks is that it's a lot less work, right? Like, that, to earn that 10 or 15% in real estate, it's going to be much more work in real estate than it is going to be in stocks. So to make that 10% in stocks, it's completely passive. You don't have to do anything. You just kind of buy the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, and you just let it sit. In real estate, it's a different animal, right? It's a different animal. And I'm pretty sure my math was correct there. If y'all think my math was wrong, let me know. But I'm pretty sure my math that I just did was right, which in theory should give you 10 to 15%, which is kind of how it plays out. Sometimes it's not that good, but yeah. Do you raise rent on good renters? Over time, yes, you have to. I'm not saying, you don't have to raise them on par with everybody else, right? But eventually, it's an inevitable thing. You're going to have to raise the rent on people, Why? Because your expenses go up over time. And so it's not something where you can just keep a same rent for decades and never increase it. Like, my expenses are going to go up, so their expenses, inflation affects everybody. Well, we already did taxes and expenses taken out, Matt, but yeah. Wait, you can make more money passively investing in indexes? I mean, we don't know. It's never for sure. Like, nothing's a certainty in investing. It's highly probable. I don't know if you're going to make more, but you're going to make comparable percentages buying and holding the S&P or the NASDAQ or the Dow and just sitting on it long term. The Dow, I don't know as much, but the S&P and the NASDAQ generally, again, on average, we could do the same calculation here. Right, like, let's say you buy $250,000 of the S&P, it appreciates on average about 9%. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, my math is off somewhere. Hold on. Oh yeah, no, that's correct. So a $250,000 house times 1.09. Yeah. Is that the P on the back shirt though? Okay, yeah. All right, I love you. Yeah, so you put 250,000 in the S&P. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In theory, you should have about 600,000 within 10 years, right? So real estate's going to be much more work involved. It's going to be a lot less passive. And over a decade, you should over double your money in either one, but then real estate Real estate, you probably percentage-wise make more, but it's a lot less passive. Galaxy. You know. All right, Nvidia, guys, let's take a look. So Nvidia still down, consolidating at these low levels here. Still down. One of the golden rules is just diversify. Like the smart people take a little bit of everything. They buy a little bit of the S&P, a little bit of the NASDAQ, some bonds, some CDs. You could buy Treasury bill ETFs if you want it to be really easy. Buy some crypto, buy some gold. Buy real estate. You could, if you don't like investing in actual real estate, you could buy real estate investment trusts. Those are useful. Same, you get a very similar return. A little bit less, but All right. Meta at 519.20s. Again, gold at 25.40s. Did you include mortgage pay down? No, I'm talking about paying cash for it. High dividend or high income ETF. I don't really like either one. I'd rather just buy the S&P, the NASDAQ, handpick some. I'm not typically the higher the dividend it pays, the more depreciating the stock is, and that's too much work to get dividends. I would rather find stocks that pay conservative dividends that go up over time. And not high income ETFs are incredibly risky. They can drop huge percentages really quick. And so either way, I think both of those are really risky options. They're too aggressively looking for growth, and so it's just not feasible for me. Personally, everybody's risk tolerance is different, though. Yeah, it's why you got to just pick your tenants appropriately. We got CB Consumer Confidence. In about 15 minutes, we got the Shiller House Price Index, which is still pretty big. Sir John, what would your wife say about your sense of humor? I mean, she would like it. She likes my sense of humor. If you can make somebody laugh, it's the key to their heart, And so my daughter has picked up the same sense of humor as I do. She'll even tell some of my jokes too. But yeah, sense of humor is good. Top 3 funniest and least funny people in the world right now. Super Micro is still breaking lows at 552. It's kind of following Nvidia down some here. John, are ETFs a little less risky than stocks, or are they about the same? They're less risky depending on which ones they are, Robert. Nothing's for sure. Again, not an investment professional. I'm not liable. If you lose, always make your own assessment, trade responsibly. But, it depends on what kind of ETFs. ETF's a broad term, Robert, right? So you can have like semiconductor ETFs, you can have S&P ETFs, NASDAQ ETFs, Dow ETFs, gold ETFs. It's a very broad term. It can mean anything. You get a penny stock ETFs. And so just saying ETFs doesn't mean anything. It depends on what kind. I would say if you're talking what most people are talking about, which is index fund ETFs like the S&P, like the SPY or the Q, whether they're less or more risky depends on the stock. But I would say in general, the good thing about the S&P and the NASDAQ is that they're diversified. And so diversification heals a lot of wounds in terms of individual stocks. So like if you diversify well enough, even if one stock fails or one stock struggles, the rest of those stocks hold it up, and it's still probably going to go up over time. And so that's one of the reasons people love the S&P 500 or the Nasdaq 100 or the Dow 30, is because they're diversified. Regardless of whether one stock has a bad year, you're generally going to do okay. And over time, those have shown their value in terms of appreciation. Again, the S&P increases about 8 to 10% a year on average. On good years, it does much better than 8 to 10%. Like last year, the S&P did 24%. And that compensates for the years that it drops 10% or whatever it is, which do happen. Bearish years happen. But diversification is a powerful risk thing. ETF is an exchange-traded fund. It usually has an underlying thing that it tracks, depending on what it is. So if we're talking about a gold ETF, it tracks gold. If we're talking about the SPY, it tracks the S&P 500. If we're talking the QQQ, it tracks the Nasdaq 100. Sometimes they're more or less leveraged, meaning they multiply the moves. But there's a lot of them. There's crypto ETFs. They're basically things that are lifted in they're funds that are lifted depending on different types of assets. Yeah, for sure, Boris. Why are trading futures so hard compared to stocks? I think trading futures are much easier than stocks. I think it's all relative to the person. Some people might be good at them. Some people might be bad at them. If you're struggling with them, it probably has to do with your strategies. But everybody's different. Some people are going to make money. Some people are going to lose money. I can't guarantee anything. Not an investment professional. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Might be wildly wrong about everything I say. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations, guys. Top 3 disclaimers in the world right now. But yeah, some days are good for me in futures and some days aren't. All right, so Nvidia right at 125. I think 125 is probably a psychological level. So we'll see if we bounce there. Definitely top 3. Less rules. There's no PDT in futures. You can day trade short. You can also day trade. Like the way I got involved with futures is that originally I traded penny stocks, realized how sketchy the market was, eventually gravitated towards like blue chip stocks. I remember trading AMD when it was like 30, 40 bucks a share. I would trade Amazon, Apple, blue chip stocks. Eventually I kind of started dipping my toes in trading the SPY directly. Right, so I'd buy the S&P 500 ETF, which is called the SPY, directly, and I had good results doing that. All right, so Nvidia just dumped under 125, which I thought was a big milestone level. So we'll see if it continues dropping. But yeah, so eventually I started day trading the SPY, had good results doing that, and then I realized that you could do virtually the same thing in futures, no PDT rule. The patterns were the same, and I can day trade the SPY price action. So like here's the SPY, and then here's the E-mini futures contract in the middle. Right, you'll notice it's literally the exact same price action. In fact, the liquidity is actually better in futures versus stocks, right? So I could day trade this middle one in futures. And again, I am Top Step is an affiliate of mine. I am a partner with Top Step, so I do work with them. And so they pay me money. Of course, I'm biased in their favor. But Top Step X, honestly, they have a funded account program. They give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo. If you pass the test with the demo, they fund you, the same amount, which is between You know, they fund you the same amount, which is between 50K up to 150K with a 90% split. They've paid out over $40 million to their traders. And again, what they do is they give you a demo. The base one's 50K. You got to make 3K in profit on the demo without losing 2K first and following their rules and conditions. The good part, though, is that if you lose $50 a month. It's not the end of the world, right? It's just $50. It's much cheaper than most people are going to lose when they day trade, which is thousands of dollars of their own money usually. And so it's a way to limit that risk to only $50 a month. You could always reset it if you lose. You got to pay another $50, but it's a lot cheaper and much slower progression of losses than if you put up $5,000 and try to day trade that. You're probably going to lose that $5,000. Nobody wants to look at that honestly, but that's the truth. But in futures, you can limit that risk with this type of funded account program. And if you pass it, you get a 90% split anyway. And that is very similar to what you're going to keep if you make the money yourself. It's just 10% difference. And so it's the best of both worlds in that regard. And again, on Top Step X, there's no commissions as well. There's some fees, but the commissions are there's no commissions and the fees are very, very light. And it's just a cool platform. So I've been trading on there lately. Yeah, in fact, the likelihood that you're going to get rich day trading is very, very, very low anywhere. But again, shameless plug. If you want to check out Top Step, there's the link. Appreciate the love. Again, they are an affiliate, a partner of mine. I don't know anything about them, Jay. Well, yeah, you're probably trying to day trade the worst week bullseye, which is the week of Nvidia earnings when the whole market's waiting and apprehensive. Do you have to have special qualifications? Not if you want to just generally trade futures. You just got to open up an account the same way you'd open up a stock account and trade. Like I can trade them on TOS on Thinkorswim. But again, same pitfalls remain as trying to day trade stocks, which is that you're probably going to lose whatever account. If you fund your account with a couple $1,000s, you're probably going to lose that. Like realistically, every day trader thinks they're different. Savant, guru, they're going to be some savant, prodigy day trader. I'm here to tell you that's probably not going to happen, and you're probably going to lose thousands. And so limit your risk. Try a funded account program first. It's the better way, in my opinion. But again, I'm biased. They pay me money, so. Anyway, SPY dipping down, testing these lows. The SPY was close to the all-time highs, which are about 565s on the SPY. It's at 559s now. So well, you can get started for $50 if you pass it. You got to pay for activation of the actual funded account, but still cheaper than. Yesterday was my worst trading day this year. Risk was terrible in that swing early after the bell. Yeah, we had a big drop, and then we basically stayed flat all day. So it was a really tricky day where we had these massive dips yesterday. If you look at it, massive dips at the opening bell, which kind of makes a lot of people think we're going to have this big volatile day afterwards, right? So, look at this. Big swings on the downside at the opening bell yesterday, which made everybody think we were going to have these big up and down swings, but then we just kind of chopped for the rest of the day. So we stayed flat up until now, basically. So, and Nvidia is starting to flush, though, and this is what's causing some volatility this morning. She basically knows everything about it. I mean, yeah. Like, we share money. Hungry cat. Not sure why you're asking about my wife so much, but yeah, we share money. We're married. We've been with each other for 14 years. Married for over 10. So we share everything. All right, guys. Yeah, so we got 4 minutes. Again, the Shiller's not a big report, right? But I'm curious to see. I'm going to look at some real estate ETFs. There's that, and look at Nvidia pop all the way back up. I'm going to look at VNQ. The Vanguard Real Estate ETF, and see if this moves at all with it. I'm also going to watch the Dow pretty closely. All right, guys, we got a couple minutes. Yeah, we got a little pop up. I'll probably watch the Dow pretty closely. All right, so here's real estate investment trust futures. No, it's not gonna let me look at them. Interest rate futures. I could look at 10-year Treasury notes. See if they move with everything. Lumber futures might move with it too. Yeah, so here's a real estate. I'm going to put a couple different things up. Here's a real estate ETF. Shiller data drops in about 2.5 minutes. Again, it's not a huge report. We got CB consumer confidence data left. And you probably want to sit out a couple times bullseye if you're losing them like that. You know, it's up to you, though. It happens. Earnings come out at 4 p.m. Impressive, yeah. All right, we got 2 minutes left. Yeah, the Shiller data is not really some big report, but we'll see. We'll see what it looks like. I'm gonna throw it in sub-only mode as well, guys. Listen, if you haven't already, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell. We appreciate it. We need 15 subscribers left to break 145K. What's a symbol for 10-year bond futures? I'll look at U.S. Treasury notes. ZN/ZN is the symbol. I'm also looking at IYR. I'll probably just look at the SPY directly, though, or the Dow, actually, is probably what I'll look at. Here's the Dow. So I want to see what the Dow does on this report. This is a little early, guys, so we still have about 40 seconds left. What happened before Nvidia earnings report? All right, guys, 20 seconds. Let's see what we get. Again, I don't know how big this is going to be. House price is expected at 6.2%. 6.2% year over year. We'll see what they show up as. They're about to drop right now. All right, they showed up at 6.5%, higher than expected for house prices. 6.5% for the Shiller HPI composite. Again, 6.5%. Interesting. So increases all around for house prices. The Shiller house price index year over year for June showed 6.5%. Month over month for June showed 0.6% gains. Month over month for June for the SA, not NSA, showed 0.4%, but increases all the way around in house prices. Interesting. Again, we'll see what this means for markets. I'll put the SPY up here. SPY kind of dipped a little bit on this data. Not a ton, though. VNQ dropped a little bit as well. See Home Depot. Yeah, prices go up more. Again, 6.5% for the Shiller data. I'll put this up on screen. So the market's closed next Monday. What is it, Labor Day? Yeah. All right, so Amazon also just recently signed a $100 million deal for the Kelsey Brothers podcast, according to Bloomberg. Yeah, I mean, most day traders lose. Doesn't matter where they go. It doesn't matter whether they go to Toss, Schwab, IB. Most day traders lose, right? And it's the same with futures. Most day traders are going to lose in futures. So if you're losing, just know that you're in the majority of traders, day traders specifically. Swing trading is probably a little bit different, but yeah, just take it slow. Trade small if you're losing a bunch. Bad for inflation? Yeah, I mean, maybe. OpenAI races to launch the Strawberry Reasoning AI to boost chatbot business, as demonstrated to national security officials, aims at improve upcoming Orion LLM via the information. Yeah, you just got to trade small and slow. Most people lose trading, right? Like, it's inevitable. Most people are going to lose. And so it is what it is. So Shiller out, showed greater numbers, 6.5%. All right, so the house price data out. We covered it when it dropped. Yeah, so again, the consumer confidence data is probably a bigger report than the Shiller. So it really genuinely is probably a little bit larger of a report than the Shiller. We'll see what it looks like, but yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if most day traders win? For every winner, there has to be a loser. And so it's just not, like, a lot of people don't understand, like, an efficient market is a random market, right? Like, and so it's just not that easy. If it was that easy, everybody would be rich and it wouldn't be sustainable, So, like, it's kind of like earnings-wise. Like, people see earnings. Like, I see a lot of people report earnings, and I say this at least once a week usually. But I see a lot of people watch earnings and cover earnings and all this stuff. And, like, when a stock moves inversely to its earnings, so say it comes in really good earnings, good EPS, good revenue, good guidance, and if it drops like 10%, they say, oh, it's rigged, manipulation, guys. It's rigged. Like it's going to be completely clear correlation with, or completely clear reaction, I should say. Like it's always going to, like it always has to move parallel with what the earnings showed up as. And again, if that was the case, everybody would be rich. Nobody would trade anything else. Everybody would sit around and wait for Apple to have good EPS, good revenue, and just click buy and profit on the upside. It would be an infinite money glitch. It's just not a reasonable expectation for it. The real problem in day trading is a lot of people's strategies are way too, like, buying high of the day breakouts doesn't work most of the time. Shorting low of the day shorts doesn't work most of the time. Identifying trends can work, but it's super complex, and you got to have the right conditions. Like, there's a lot more conditions that need to be met for your strategy to work than people realize. It's not just every time you see a bull flag buy, every time you break highs buy. Like, it's just not that easy, and that's what a lot of day traders get wrong. They're looking at it really simply, like in a simple way, and sometimes simple strategies work, but simplicity works, but you also have to have favorable conditions, like, with it. All right, so the NFL is expected to vote in favor of private equity ownership, according to CNBC, and has selected firms to commit $12 billion. All right, Nvidia's up there. There's the Dow on the left. Here's the SPY. Put that back up. SPY still flushing down with Nvidia. Where's Tesla at? Tesla's still over 220. Nope, down to 212s. Right, exactly. Yeah, if everybody won, inflation would spike to an unsustainable amount very quickly. Swing trading is easier. Yeah, everybody's different though, you know. So some people find, and I mean, investing's the easiest, I would say universally. But again, some people have good strengths, and people have different strengths and weaknesses. Some people are patient. Other people are really quick decision makers. Other people are really analytical. Like it just. You know, there's a lot of different stuff. You could even say that about the index is 9% average every year. If it was true, everyone would do that and it wouldn't work. But the thing is, not everyone will do it, even if it's conventional. Right. Well, you also have to understand, right? Like 9% is 9% is a relatively, is a reasonable percentage to expect every year, right? The problem with day trading is 9% is 9% a year. That takes time, right? It's not immediate. You're not immediately earning 9% doing anything on average consistently, really. And so that 9% is drawn out over 12 months, which, obviously if you take 9 and divide it by 12, you're going to be earning 0.75% every month on average. And so, yeah, it's a more reasonable percentage point. The problem with a lot of day trading is that day traders promise the world, and it's just not a reasonable expectation. Day traders think that they're going to be able. I always bring this up because I think it's freaking hilarious. But you had some person on TikTok, like some pretty girl on TikTok, saying, "Hey guys, if you just make 5% a day, every day, you'll have this much money at the end of the year." And it's like, well, yeah, if you make 5% daily, you will, but that's never gonna freaking happen, like Warren Buffett could create a super clone and a super clone robot trader, and he ain't making 9% a year. He's not making 5% every day. Nobody is. It's just not a reasonable expectation. Like nobody's making that every day. And again, for that person to say that on the internet shows a severe lack of understanding about investing in general and finance, really. And so, you got to have reasonable expectations for things. The real standard of whether somebody's a good investor, trader, good in finance generally is, can they beat the S&P or the NASDAQ? So if the NASDAQ does 15% a year, tests of like hedge funds, or can you beat 15% that year? Like if the S&P did 15%, what did your hedge fund do? If it did 25%, maybe you got an argument. 25% is great. If the S&P did 3% and you did 1%, the S&P, just buying and holding the S&P is beating your hedge fund. And most hedge funds are going to get beat by the S&P, on average. The other thing to take though, the reason there is hedge funds. So you might ask, well, why is there hedge funds then? The reason there's hedge funds is because big money can maneuver a lot of things to save money, right? Like the word hedge explains what it kind of is, which means that you can go long and short. And so you can hedge against risks in a lot of different ways through hedge funds that you're taking in other areas of finance. You can, and that might have tax implications, write-off implications, like stuff like that. That's why big money puts their money in hedge funds, is to limit their risk in other areas. And that's okay, and that's understandable. Going back to that though, this whole thing about 25%, or this whole thing about unrealized taxes, is absolutely crazy. It makes absolutely no sense, because you got to let people write off unrealized losses then, and that's going to open the door to less taxes being paid, I think, than more taxes, because big money's going to find a way to show a huge loss on their books unrealized and then write off that loss, and it's just going to open the door to nonsense. All right, guys. So, bro, I see some of these people that subscribe to my channel. Like, YouTube has like a section where it's like your subscribers, and so some of these guys are big. They've got tens, hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I go look at their channel, like almost everyone is a freaking Minecraft gamer. Like, what are Minecraft gamers doing watching my channel? My son loves freaking Minecraft. That's like his game. My daughter used to play with him too. Lately he's been getting into a lot of stuff. I'll play video games, but it's mostly like sports. I'm definitely top 3 worst ever. All right, guys, here we go. We got 15 minutes until the market opens. Yeah, I like UFC 5. That's fun. Carisdale Capital says it's short Lumen Tech. LUMN. Yeah, penny stock. I just don't know enough about it. Somebody, what's Lumen Tech? I don't know anything about this company. Super Micro Semiconductors, guys. Wow, look at this. What is going on with Super Micro? Look at that over there. Look at Super Micro over there. What is going on? Again, this is why somebody asked me, was trying to sell me on Super Micro yesterday. I told him, look, I can't touch that thing. Too big of swings here. You might make big money, you might lose big money, and that's exactly why I'm not messing with it, is because look at this. Super Micro Semiconductors, man. Still falling. Nvidia's even following it down. Nvidia's following Super Micro down in sympathy. Something just happened, you know. Here, let me see if I can go somewhere else. There's other sources I can do to look up what's happening here. Let me find it. I can't find anything yet. Hindenburg short report on Super Micro is what I'm hearing, right? I'm hearing rumbles about a Hindenburg short report on Super Micro Semiconductors. Oof, this might be bad for the whole microchip sector if this is true. Again, I don't know if this is true. I saw somebody posted on Hindenburg short report just released this. Okay, so again, I'll link you guys the report. Hindenburg did post a report here. Hindenburg Research Supermicros. They said, quote, Supermicro fresh evidence of accounting manipulation, sibling self-dealing, and sanctions evasion at this high AI high flyer. So again, that's what's going on. I'll put this up in quotes here, but man, Hindenburg short report. With the short report, I want to make sure I get their name right, but yeah. Look at this. Evidence of accounting manipulation, sibling self-dealing, and sanctions evasion. So yeah, guys, so to put this into perspective, a lot of people are saying, hey, what's going on, right? So to put this into perspective, okay, Hindenburg is a short report firm, right? They call themselves a research firm. What they really do is they try to find inflated companies that are sketchy, and then they delve deeper into what's going on inside those companies, and then they publish, they front load short into these companies, and then they publish their findings if it's negative, right? Now, it's very important that they have to be honest about things, but they basically short, they're professional shorters, right? They get behind these companies, they front load short into them, and then they publish their findings. And, you know, it doesn't mean the findings aren't true. You know, they specifically target companies that they find are sketchy. And again, in this case, they said, again, quote, fresh evidence of accounting manipulation, sibling self-dealing, and sanctions evasion. So, well, I mean, again, Jack, so he says they're not closed yet by the SEC. If they're telling the truth, it's legal. You know, so that's what you all have to understand. If they're telling the truth, it's legal. And again, we can ask. So they're legal because they operate within the bounds of financial regulation and laws that govern the stock market. Their activities fall under the category of short selling and activist short selling, both of which are permitted under the U.S. securities law. Hindenburg has freedom of speech. Like other short sellers, they exercise that right. They publish reports, express opinions, and analysis on public companies as do I. Right? I don't really short anything, but they are required to disclose positions, particularly if they are a public company or large positions. They typically disclose that it is a short position in companies they report on. Short selling is a vital component of market efficiency, according to a lot of people. If short selling firms publish false or misleading info, they could face legal consequences. The SEC and other regulatory bodies oversee. So yeah, again, it's legal, but frowned upon, I guess is the better word. It's kind of like blackjack. So Corey, so today we have CB consumer confidence. Tomorrow we have Nvidia earnings. Thursday we got jobless claims numbers, GDP data, and more. Friday we have PCE inflation data. It's actually true, Jack. So you can legally short these companies and publish opinionated reports on them, as long as you're not lying in the reports, right? So it has to be true stuff. It can't be made up stuff. You know, as long as they are doing their best to tell the truth and what they find is the truth, then it's legal, man. It's completely legal. Like, you might not like it. You might be holding Supermicro Semiconductors. Again, Supermicro Semiconductor is a low float stock that is very volatile and risky. It's high risk, high reward, and I get it, but I would be careful. Correct, Matt. And if it's not the truth, yeah, I mean, listen, you know, you could take two stances of it. You know, again, they call themselves activist short sellers. So, like, you're going to hear two different arguments here. You're going to hear one side, which are mostly bullish traders that are holding some of these positions, that say, hey, it's manipulation, it's manipulation. Then you're going to have the other side of people that say, hey, if these companies are being sketchy, should we not talk about it? Should we not? Like, one of the keys of the market is identifying sketchinesses in companies. And so, I mean, they're allowed to state their opinion. They're not allowed to lie about things. And so if what they say is true, you know, they're allowed to short it and publish reports on findings they have. Again, it's kind of like an activist. If they think a company's misleading people, they're allowed to profit on its demise and downfall. A good example of this is Bill Ackman, you know, very famous investor. He, I think justifiably so, thought that Herbalife, which is basically a MLM, a multi-level marketing pyramid scheme, can't guarantee it's a pyramid scheme, but it looks an awful lot like one. He had a famous documentary called Betting on Zero, where he was short selling Herbalife. And Herbalife is a super predatory company, in my opinion, that basically takes advantage of struggling people and has a publicly traded multi-level marketing company. It's just really sketchy company, to be honest. Nobody really makes money selling Herbalife. And anyways, but he had a big documentary that came out called Betting on Zero. He eventually got squeezed out of his position, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, the point remains, you can short these companies if you think they're being sketchy, as Ackman did with Herbalife, and as Hindenburg obviously is done with Supermicro Semiconductors today. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with anybody. I don't freaking know. Yeah, I mean, Jack, listen, man, it definitely is legal. It's not insider information. Everything they're looking at is publicly, available to everybody, bro. So, I mean, I get it. People are upset. They're publishing short reports. Again, what I will say is that if this company is being sketchy, you should be mad at the company itself, not the short report that gets published on it. And even though you might be holding that company long, again, I'm not in it. It's not like I'm shorting Supermicro here, but just be careful, guys. Just be careful. Again, Supermicro, a really young company, small float, very volatile. So just be careful. Yeah, we got CB Consumer Confidence at 10 a.m., Justin, is what we got going on today. All right, Nvidia basically rebounded back up here. We're going to get ready to start day trading some. I'll put all three of these charts up and watch them. Should I put a timer up here? Yeah, we got about 35 and a half minutes. Yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at Hindenburg. Again, their argument is going to be, you're going to have certain people holding Supermicro that's mad. But you also, like, the lens you have to look at it under is if a company's being sketchy and misleading people, is it wrong to out them for it? Even if it's a publicly traded company, And again, that's going to be their argument. I'm neutral. I don't really know. I'm not really doing this. It's not like I'm shorting these companies. But again, that's probably going to be Hindenburg's argument, is if a company's being sketchy, shouldn't we out them? Supermicro started. It's really not down that much, though. I mean, it percentage-wise, it's not a small amount. What is it, like 8%? But right, exactly, Corey. You could report on anything, good, bad, and you can even front load into them as long as you're telling the truth. All right, guys, we got 4.5 minutes. All right, guys, we got 2.5 minutes left. Interesting news that hits before the opening bell. We got CB consumer confidence. Yeah, they did it with SQ. They did it with Icon Enterprises. They did it with a bunch of companies. Super Micro bouncing back, though. It's at 523s now. So I'm going to put Nvidia and then Super Micro up here so we can watch these microchip stocks closer to the open. All right, so there's Super Micro right here on the right. Do you think crouch size patch? Yeah, I don't know. Is there earnings tomorrow? I know tomorrow we got Chewy, Abercrombie and Fitch, Kohl's, Foot Locker, Bath and Body Works, and more earnings in the morning tomorrow. So Super Micro back up to 520s here. We'll see if it holds. All right, 40 seconds. All right, so here we go. There's the opening bell. Let's see what the market does. SPY bouncing back a little bit at the open. I think we're down enough this morning to maybe have some room on the upside. So Super Micro is also supposed to have their stock split in a couple days. Some of the conspiracy theories are going to come out that this was done to get cheaper shares before the split, maybe. We'll see. Hey, y'all hit that subscribe button, chat. We appreciate the love. We're going to be day trading live today. I'm going to wait and let the opening bell play out first. Although Nvidia has bounced back some. Like, look at Nvidia up here. Hasn't really held, though. Still a little ways to go. All right, so mostly rebounds. Super micros all the way back up here. You know, like the other consequence. Hey, thank you, Silva. How did they go? How did they got 32 billion market cap? Super micro. What? I'm not sure what you're asking me. Super micro has a market cap of 31 billion. So I mean, yeah, it's not small. It's not huge either. Like an example is like Nvidia's market cap's in the trillions, right? So we have seen mostly big rebounds here. I'm gonna start to maybe buy this up. One contract here. Back to green. All right, we're out. So we just scalped about $100 really quick. Let's see if we hold. But no, thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. I'm not sure what you were asking me in it though, but yeah, I appreciate the dono. Thanks, man. Yeah, we got CB Consumer Confidence in a couple minutes. Yeah, sitting tight. We got a big down wick here. All right, so we're gonna buy this little dip. I just made another $100. Yeah, sitting tight. Again, everybody announce yourself so as you're subscribed. We appreciate it. I appreciate the love. Yeah, my computer kind of sounds like a rocket ship, so hopefully we're not lagging too much. There goes Nvidia spike up. Look at Nvidia spike. Super micro is starting to spike up from it as well here. I'm going to put just 2 charts up. Look at Super micro go. Ready for tomorrow's earnings? Yeah, tomorrow's earnings are big. They're the whole market's waiting for those, to be honest, man. Like they really are. The whole market is silently waiting for those earnings. I'm curious of what kind of data we're gonna get today. You know, we got CB consumer confidence data today too, so it's kind of crazy. They ready? Bad news for Nvidia's before earnings. Hey, what's up, Matt? Mine always does that during market open. Yeah, it might be time for me to update my computer too. All right, so we just scalped a little bit more. We're up 600 in this account. Nvidia just rejected at the previous closing price. We're in this little slight upward range though. Like you can kind of see this little slight trend here if I draw it out on the chart. It doesn't mean we're going to stay in this trend either. You know, but we're in this little slight trend like there. That's what I see right now. Got long super micro. Yeah, super micro's up from the open. Nvidia will be dropped because a lot of people missed the entry. Long super profit just take profit. Long super micro just took profit. Yeah. Are you guys red or green this morning, chat? Red or green? Again, I am day trading on Top Step X, which is a funded account program in futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill with a demo account. If you pass the test with the demo, they fund you with a regular account. This is a 50K challenge, so if I pass this, I get 50K in funding with a 90% split. If I fail it, I only lose $49. It's not the end of the world. A month, that is. It's $49 a month. So it limits your risk, and if you're good enough to pass it, you get funded. If you're not good enough to pass it, you probably would lose more anyway. And then once you're funded, you get a 90% split. It's similar to putting the money up yourself with just noticeably less risk. And again, they pay out millions. They paid out over $40 million to their traders. They fund thousands of traders. They've been around for 12 plus years. And in the futures market, you can day trade with no PDT rule, the S&P 500, the NASDAQ futures contracts, gold, some currencies, a lot of cool stuff. And again, we're going to trade on our actual funded account later on. So we are going to trade on our actual funded account later on. We're just kind of trading this slow period and letting this play out first like we have been. But again, Top Step X is what we're working on getting funded on now because there's no commissions. If you want to check them out, they are a sponsor. They pay me money, though. I'm biased for sure. But if you want to check it out, here's the link. Yeah, we're at the bottom of the range here. I'm worried everything's going to start breaking down. So we've had good accuracy so far. We can kind of trade with what we lost this morning, but let's see if we retrace back up. We're at the very bottom of the range, so I just got to be careful. Yeah, I don't like that. So we lost a little bit there. I'm going to short this, see if we get a flush breakdown, but it's risky. Try to add some to it. We're trying to get funded, so we got to take big risk here, and I don't mind resetting if I need to. There we go. All right, we took half off there. We're going to add more to this position, take a little bit more off, take some more off there. Boom. So we just made like 500. We're up 800 on the total account. Caught the short. Market looking weak. Gold trying to push. Where's gold at right now? Gold at 2540s. 2540s. Supermicro Semiconductors had a short report by Hindenburg published about them this morning that said they had evidence of accounting manipulation, sibling self-dealing, and sanctions evasion at the high with Supermicro. So that's what happened. Waiting for Nvidia earnings, bears normal. Yeah, I'm kind of bullish though. Like I think we're down so much yesterday leading into Nvidia earnings that I might start buying up these lows, but man, I think I'm a little late. And we got Supermicro Semiconductors dipping under the VWAP here, under the 200 EMA. And remember, we got CB consumer confidence data coming out today too, so that data drops. So CB consumer confidence data today is expected at 100.9. 100.9. Last time it showed up at 100.3. If you don't know what CB consumer confidence is, it measures the level of confidence consumers have in the economy. When they're optimistic, they spend more, increases consumption and economic growth, but also potentially inflation problems, right? I think right now the market fears recessions based off like the chat and a lot of other stuff. And so I think a higher number is going to be seen as a more positive thing. A lower number is going to be seen as a more negative thing. But let me know what you guys think the correlation is. Do you guys think the market will react good or bad to economic strength through CB consumer confidence? I'm trading on Top Step. Big dips here. All right, Nvidia dumping down under 125s. So Nvidia starting to flush down, testing lows here. This short, again, I've been kind of bullish though, but like the market continues to turn. Honestly, my indicator called it. So I saw this indicator, right, like on the back of my screen. One of the reasons I started to short the market was because look at this indicator show up. And it literally called the perfect top of this. Look at this. Perfect top. And look at that. So I'm going to have to put more weight on this indicator that I've been building. Do you expect Nvidia to be bullish tomorrow? I don't expect anything, really. I have no idea. I hope it comes in good, of course, but who freaking knows? Don't copy me, though. I'm not an investment professional. I look at a 4-hour chart of the index I trade. I use 20 and 40 simple moving averages. That tells me what direction the market is going. For swing trades, we're going down now. Well, yeah, I mean, we've been moving down for sure. How did the indicator know that? I'm not going to tell you guys my conditions. It's an algorithm I built. I'm sorry, guys. I bought yesterday. That's why we're red. I think every trader has that that thought process at least once in their trading journey. You know. Where's Tesla at? Is Tesla falling? So Super Micro back down. Tesla at 209s. Ooh, Tesla does look nasty right now. Look at Tesla. It's definitely helping drag the market down. Look at Tesla on the top right here. Look at this. Oof, brutal. I'm a trader with a very long timeline, a week. Is a week a long timeline? I guess if you're talking about specifically short-term trading, maybe. That'd be more like a swing trader. I'm seeing 5,600 on the S&P as a buy opportunity. I don't think anything's an opportunity right now ahead of Nvidia earnings. I think Nvidia earnings have the ability to massively influence the market depending on what they show up as and what the market's reaction to that is. And so I don't think anything technicals... Like, I don't think any technical pattern right now, long-term, looking out over the next week or two is a good pattern, right? I think Nvidia earnings, PCE data on Friday, and GDP data on Thursday have the ability to completely cancel out and wipe out any big technical pattern that you're going to see because they're so massively influential over markets that you could have the best technical pattern in the world. And if Nvidia earnings come in really hot, it's going to run, most likely. It might not. If guidance comes in good, it's going to run, but it might not. But point is, technicals are moot right now, considering Nvidia earnings are tomorrow afternoon. And then after that, we have GDP data, which is the first revision GDP data, the update from the initial estimate, which is the least accurate one. It's going to update it. And that has the ability to influence markets a lot. And then PCE inflation data at the end of the week, this week on Friday, is huge. So, yeah, point is, I wouldn't base any week to 2 week swing trades based off of technicals ahead of all these big major catalysts. It's just not smart, in my opinion. But again, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose money. You know, do your own thing. All right, so NASDAQ just broke lows again. Tesla breaking down. Nvidia breaking down. Nvidia just dumped. Look at this. Nvidia cracked lows down to 124s. It's still pretty small. It's up a lot anyway. And so this isn't the end of the world. Again, earnings are coming up tomorrow. So as with technicals, this short-term price action has the ability to just get completely wiped out if Nvidia has good earnings. This is going to be insignificant. Super Micro is starting to rebound, though. I might start to buy. All right, so we just made another 150. I don't know if we've had any losses today in this account. Have we? I don't think we have. We've been scalping very quick trades. Nvidia's not really down that much. It's gapping down a little bit, but like the previous closing price is 126.40s. It's at 125, 124.40s. So it's down like a percent, maybe, you know, maybe less. All right, we got a pretty big rebound. Supermicro's back up, Nvidia's back up here, so it's not a huge rebound. It depends on how much we're zooming in. But you know, we also have CB consumer confidence. I don't know how much these are going to move markets though. We'll see. But you know, we do have those two things dropping. Gold going up. Yeah, I mean, gold's still pretty flat on the day. I don't hold anything into earnings. It depends on how long it is. If it's really long term, I don't mind holding stuff into earnings. But if I'm swing trading, I'm usually cutting it before the earnings report, unless I'm up. Really, the only way I'll hold like a swing trade into earnings is if I buy it and I get very green very quickly, you know, to where I'm up a huge amount, and so I can have the room to say, all right, well, we can let this trade either make a really big gain or break even, because unless it's really, really bad, I'm at least going to break even if it turns. But if earnings has a positive reaction, then I can play that and watch it. And so it just depends. Hello. Hi. How did that go? Hey guys, so sorry, I'll be right back. We're watching this. So again, look at Nvidia bouncing back up a little bit. Nvidia testing that 200 EMA right now. Supermicro is kind of flat since the opening bell. It's gone up big and down really big. We might get a choppy factor heading into CB consumer confidence data at 10 a.m. So we might get like a choppy factor here leading into this report. The SPY's moving up. Nvidia's moving up. A lot of stuff's moving up. We'll see what happens, guys. Let me know, what do you guys think we'll get choppiness leading into CB consumer confidence, and do you think CB consumer confidence will have any type of big influence over things? Let me know. All right, sorry. My wife just had like a parent-teacher conference with a bunch of my son's teachers, so she was trying to update me on that. But yeah, so again, I don't know if we're gonna get choppiness. Nvidia started to bounce all the way back up, all the way back up to 126s. So all the red bearish sentiment that we had at the opening bell basically just got wiped away. And now we're up. Super Micro also starting to bounce back up. It's still red from the Hindenburg report, but it is starting to go back up some, at least. Yeah, I've been worried about freaking cauliflower ear lately, man. I've been training so much. I've been worried about cauliflower ear, dude. Like, I can kind of, like, I have the magnets that I put on after I train, which should stop it. But yeah. I'm looking at my ears in the video. There's a real possibility Nvidia flops even on good earnings. You can't really know with volatile stocks. Right. Well, nobody knows. We could speculate. I would always try to say get reactionary. Like, react to what happens instead of predicting it. Look at Nvidia, though. Pump up. Nvidia pumping up, testing the previous close. Nvidia about to go green on the day when it's been red almost all morning. So Nvidia now technically green on the day. So technically positive up on the day. You can see the previous closing price, this light blue line right here. That's the red to green level on Nvidia. Doesn't mean it's going to hold. It might turn red, but this is going to drag most other stuff up with it. And yeah, we'll see if Nvidia surges into the open or into earnings or what happens here. Yeah, my wife does not want me to get cauliflower ear. She does not want me to have cauliflower. I don't want it either, personally. And they say it's genetic. But here's the thing, like my ears hurt, like I can feel it in my ears, like my ears hurt. You know, they're not that bad though. Like, so I have one of those headsets, those wrestlers headsets that I bought, that I've been wearing off and on when I roll. And so maybe it'll help. I don't know. Maybe it won't. What is cauliflower ear? Cauliflower ear is it's hard to explain. We got 6 minutes left until CB consumer confidence data. It's not hard to explain. I'll explain it. Just give me a second. So yeah, we got 6 minutes left, a little bit less than that for CB consumer confidence data. It's expected at 100.9 or 101 roughly versus last time it showed up a little bit closer to 100. Again, expected at 101 basically. Previous was 100.3. All right, so again, higher CB consumer confidence signals stronger economy. Lower CB consumer confidence signals weaker economy. And again, this data release drops in 5 minutes. We'll see if it influences the market, to be honest. I haven't really lost in this account yet. I don't think I have. Let me see. Or not in this account, but on the day. Yeah, you can kind of see my stats. Pretty good. This is today on this account. Or no, this is total. We're up 901s. So we're winning at 84% of the time. Our profit factor is almost 3-1. So we'll see how that goes. We have bounced back a lot. So we're doing pretty good on this account. We'll see if it holds. So yeah, cauliflower ear is... So whenever your ear has a lot of, gets a lot of like, whenever you're rough on your ears, right? What happens is that as a protective measure, your ears start to separate, like throw less blood in there and spend less energy there so that they hurt less, and so that kind of protects them. And so what happens is it starts to redirect blood in your ears basically as a protective measure. Well, what happens is it causes like this deformity that in your ears where the blood eventually will harden and look bad, right? So what it is it looks like this. Really bad cases when the ears hit and a blood clot or fluid collection forms. You'll see it in like really like pro MMA fighters a lot. Like you see it in Dan Henderson, you see it in Randy Couture, you see it in Habib, right? Like here's Habib. All right, here's Habib. That's cauliflower ear right there. All right, guys, we got 3 minutes. 3 minutes. Honestly, if I had it, I would just wear shaggy hair always, cover up my ears, you know. But there's a way to protect against it. Like I said, if you You could wear a mask, or like a head mask, like a wrestler's mask, or you could wear, you could put the magnets on. I have the magnets that, you know, keep blood out. Yeah, if you ever see a guy that wants to fight you with those ears, run away from him. Yeah, Nvidia bounced all the way back up. Now technically green on the day. It's right at this break-even level here. We got 2.5 minutes. Also, guys, again, if you haven't already, check out Top Step. If you want to try to day trade with me, there's no PDT in futures. You can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, some currencies, gold. Patterns are very similar to blue chip stocks patterns, but there's no PDT rule, and you can limit your risk when you're first getting started, especially if you don't have that much money with these funded account programs. Most day traders lose, and so you're still probably going to lose day trading, but it's a lot cheaper to try a funded account program on Top Step. It's only $49 a month. If you lose, it's not the end of the world, and you probably would have lost more money. Anyway, if you pass it, you get a 90% split, and they fund millions of dollars to they pay out millions of dollars to their trader, over 40 million. Been around for over 12 years. And so check them out. There's the link. Great way to help support your boy and this channel. They are a sponsor, though. They pay me money. I'm biased because of it. We got two minutes left. Understand CFTC 4.41. Hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations, guys. Forrest Griffin. Yeah. People have said I look like Forrest Griffin, man. I guess I really would if I had cauliflower ear, which I don't. I've heard good and bad things. I've heard Forrest Griffin. I've heard Paul Felder. And then I've heard good ones like Ryan Felipe and I've heard good ones. But again, who knows if they're just kind of telling me what I want to hear, trying to get on my good side, you know. All right, guys, we got 50 seconds left before CB Consumer Confidence Data. 50 seconds. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Help me hit 145K. That hurts, Cal. That hurts, man. Forced? I don't know, man. I don't have his ears, bro. His ears are big. Y'all are really telling me I look like this? That's what y'all saying? All right, guys, 15 seconds, guys. 15 seconds. All right, this timer's a little bit early, but 15 seconds. All right, so here we go. CB Consumer Confidence. Here's the report. Let's see if the market reacts. All right, 103. Greater than expected. Much higher consumer confidence than expected. 103. A much stronger economy, at least in terms of CB consumer confidence than expected. So the expectations regarding the economy were higher than expected. At 103. Again, guys, 103 versus 100.7. So 103 versus 100.7. Yeah, so stronger economy than expected. Here's the link. Check it out. Yeah, y'all are telling me I look like this here? Come on now. You know, look. Just like me, huh? Market's actually negatively reacting to this. Negatively reacting. Recession postponed. Nah, see, consumer confidence is not going to postpone the recession. If you want to know whether that, watch GDP tomorrow, or the day after tomorrow. GDP tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, I mean, is going to be much more important. Much more important. You know. Yeah, and listen, guys, I know y'all are comparing me to Forrest Griffin, and I get it. Listen, when you look this good, you know, people are going to try to throw shade your way. It's just normal. Like, I get it. Like, jealousy thrives when you're as handsome as I. Top 3 most handsome people in the world, they say. And so, listen, guys, I'm going to get out of here. I love you all. Y'all have a great day. Y'all be good. I'll see you guys later. You know, cheers to you guys. And Forrest Griffin, apparently. And y'all be good. Hey, tomorrow, Nvidia earnings, guys. Nvidia earnings tomorrow. A massive, massive day. Massive, massive day. I guess it is. But it's better than Peter Griffin. That's definitely true. You know, so, hey, I appreciate the love. Y'all be good. Have a great day, guys.